Hi everyone, hope you're all keeping well. Today I'm making a video on one of my embroidery kits that I have, and basically this is going to be one of the canals in Venice. I'm about 10 hours in, and so far I've done the sky and a bit of the water. I still have more of the water to do, but it looks quite shimmery in the sunlight actually, which I haven't noticed before because I've been mostly doing it in the evenings. But it's a pre-made kit with the outline on it. And when it's finished, you wash that out with soapy water so it gets rid of all of the lines and you're left with just the embroidery picture. To give you a rough idea, it should look something like this. However, I have noticed that the thread colours are not the same as what's on the picture. This is the instruction leaflet and it basically has a reference. All of this tells you what thread colours to use. And obviously it comes with a bag of threads, but it doesn't quite seem to match up. Like if you have a look, I'll just go back to the bigger picture. If you have a look at the watercolour and the water on here, it is not anywhere the same. But it doesn't matter, I'm still enjoying the kit and I'm sure it will still look beautiful when it's finished. Here I was just showing that I'm doing long and short stitch for the water, as it makes it look a lot more blended in and there's no like jagged edges or anything. But I spent a good couple of hours doing that and I'm just about done with the water. This particular section is really bothering me a lot. I followed the pattern exactly what it said to do, and it said to do a white outline stitch here to make it look like the water movement, but I don't like it because it's not blending in, and obviously this is meant to be the shadow underneath the boat. I might possibly change it, but I'm going to wait until I'm further along, because sometimes with embroidery something might be an eyesore and it might really annoy you because it's the most recent part that you've done, and then by the time you've done the rest of the picture you don't even notice it. And I've had that before with other pictures I've done. I found like a tree trunk really annoying, and then by the time the picture's all completely done you don't even notice it at all. So yeah, I'll just see and wait if it's still an eyesore. Okay, I know I said I would wait and see if it was still an eyesore, but it is an eyesore. So I spent quite a while trying to fix it and hopefully it looks better. So I've gone a bit rogue and I've gone anti-instructions. I basically, hopefully you notice the difference, I got rid of all of this white outline stitch because I just really didn't think it was blending with the water very well. And I just added in this blue colour into here to make some highlights and just got rid of as much white as possible. But hopefully it looks a little bit less of an eyesore now, because I think it really would have looked horrible at the end. So hopefully it's slightly blended in a bit better. Little update, it's the next day. I did about 5 hours of sewing yesterday, so you'll see I filled in all of that section, and obviously, as you know, I fixed that. But last night I did a little bit of extra sewing and I did this shadow along here, which I think I'm going to extend it slightly as I think it looks a bit unnatural. And then I've started to do the sides of the riverbank, but I'm going to eat my lunch and then I will carry on. I've just started doing this side of the bank, and I'm doing long and short stitch just so that it looks a bit blended in nicer. I think satin stitch, it would look just not enough detail, it would just look like one giant thing. So I think long and short stitch, it has a bit of a better effect, it gives it a bit more texture and a bit more detail. I'm going to carry on with long and short stitch along here, and I'm watching Christmas movies in July. I've been watching a lot of Christmas films actually the last couple of days because they're really comforting and they're easy to just binge watch in the background. But I basically spent a couple of hours just filling in the rest of the green for the side of the canal, and if you look at the right hand side as well, I've started the pavement. I did an outline stitch for the darker bit, and then I did satin stitch over the top. I think in these clips you can see the actual proper colours better because I don't have the bright sun shining on the embroidery today. But I spent a couple of hours doing the gondola and I watched another Christmas movie. But I'm quite happy with how the gondola came out, and I think it's got kind of an animated cartoony look to it, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it's going well. 21 hours in. It's quite difficult to do updates on an embroidery piece because you can do about 4 hours of sewing and it looks exactly the same unless you point it out. But I'm up to 25 hours and I basically have done the buildings. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't even notice unless I said. I've started doing a couple of the buildings at the back of the bridge, and I had a bit of a moment with my threads. They all got jumbled up, so I had to reorganise them. But yeah, enjoying it still and carrying on. Over the next few days, I just basically worked on the embroidery piece whenever I got a chance, and I just did an hour here and there. And I kind of just did a building and then stopped, and then the next day did another building and then stopped, or picked it up later in the evening. But I'm enjoying how it's coming out, and I'm purposely doing a really rough satin stitch to add texture to it, and I think it's actually working quite well. So a little update, I hope you don't mind looking at our shaggy carpet. It's brand new and it's really fluffy at the moment, which is nice. But I like working on the floor. I don't like sitting on chairs, one of my peculiar quirks. But this is how it's looking, and I've surpassed the 30-hour mark. I think it's on 32 hours at the moment, I can't remember. I've got a note of it. But I basically have left these two buildings and just the bridge. But what I've noticed is, and I'll bring it a bit closer so you can see, for some reason, and this is really annoying, they haven't drawn the lines on the bridge, and I'll show you the reference picture. I think it might be a printing error if I can get that close enough. If you can see, it's got all of the railings on the bridge, and then you can see the colour of the buildings behind it. But obviously it's not there. But I think I have a heat erasable pen which I use for my embroidery journal, which I thought I'd also show you as well. But I'm going to use this to draw on the pattern, just so that I know where to put what colour, because obviously in the gaps I'll have to fill in blue and orange and white and everything, and it would be kind of hard to do it without having that as a reference. This is my trusty heat erasable pen, and you just use a hairdryer to get rid of any lines, and I use it all of the time on my embroidery. This is basically, it's a journal of the year, and it's like a diary of everything we've done, and I've pre-drawn the eclipse on there because there's meant to be a full solar eclipse in the UK on the 12th of August, so I just put it on there to remind myself that I want to see it. But there was a really beautiful full moon a couple of nights ago, so I just did a little full moon and a starry sky, and there's loads of things on here, like just happy memories and things and lots of things. But yeah, all you do is you just use a hairdryer and it gets rid of it, and then these actual pre-printed lines, you just wash them out and they just rinse out with soapy water. I'm just working on this. I haven't done so much in the last few days because I've been doing a lot of painting instead. It's so hot in our apartment. I have the plants in front of the fan, ignore the messy bed, because this week in the UK it's 36 degrees, and this has just been in the room and the heat erasable pen has like vanished, and normally it takes a hairdryer to make it come off. But what I've been doing today, I've just been working on this building for the last hour or so. I'm pleased to announce after many hours I'm on the final little push. Just got the bridge left to do, but this morning I've just done all the colours of the buildings and tried to match that up in between the railings, and I'm just doing the railings at the moment. But I've made an executive decision. I'm doing them brown, but if you have a look at the pattern, I don't know if you can see it very well, they used quite a light colour thread for the railings. I'm still going to do the bridge part the same colour, but the actual railing parts, because see this part here, like these threads of the buildings are very light, and I think if I'd have done the light colour of the bridge, which it's that thread, you wouldn't actually be able to tell that there's railings. So yeah, my executive decision to just make it a little bit darker because I thought it might show up a bit more. But nearly finished, nearly there. After a whopping 43 hours, I'm pleased to announce that it's finally finished, and I used the hairdryer just to get rid of any pen marks that I'd drawn on the bridge, and then I took it out of the hoop and I washed it in some like kind of lukewarm soapy water, and I nearly had a bubble explosion because I think I got a bit carried away with how much washing up liquid was in the little pot that I was using, so it kind of went over the edge a bit. But I'm very happy with how it turned out, and I quite enjoy this picture, so I'm about to hang it on the wall. But here's some clips of the finished project, and I hope you like it. Let me know in the comments what your favourite part of the embroidery is. I really like the gondola, but I also like how the railings of the bridge turned out as well. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope it inspires you to do some embroidery as well. And I'm going to go melt in the 36-degree heat now. It's so hot. Thanks for watching. Bye.